Welcome to Ruckosaurus Rex, the channel where we review and discuss all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. Today, we take a look, another look, kind of sorta, of the 1/18 scale Dilophosaurus by Creative Beast Studios. Only this time, it is part of their Cyberzoic line. This is another one of the mounts, in other words, beasts that are utilized like horses. In their Cyberzoic line, and that means you get animals, you get mounts, armored mounts to attach to the action figures, and there are also humanoid riders for these for this particular line. They're all sold separately. I'm only interested in the dinos, so there'll be no showing of armors or humanoids on this channel. Anyway, you see what we got going on. Like I said, this is once again Dilophosaurus. We've seen this before. And of course, with this new offering, we're going to get new paint apps, which is just lovely to think of. We don't have to worry about any type of upgrades because Dilophosaurus was initially introduced via the Cyberzoic line during their Kickstarter last year. And when I say last year, I mean 2024, if anybody ever sees this video later down the line. And so any upgrades CBS were engaging in would be implemented on this critter right here. Anyhow, we'll find out what's what when we get it open. Some nice artwork there of the Dilophosaurus. And look on the side, we have some more artwork over there. We've got that Cyberzoic handprint on that side. Here in the rear, we have some, on our upper left, there's some toy photography showing how you can utilize your figure with the included stand. And then on our right, there's some artwork showing the complete pterodactyl unit, which is, I'm not going to even hazard a guess as to what that means because, once again, I'm not into the cyber portion of this line, just the zoic parts. There's the pyrodactyl armor down there. You can see on the left side below that artwork, and on the right is the humanoid, the Fire Knight. And as always, as it states, each component sold separately. We've got our profile for the species. The length is 7 meters. Which means about 23 feet. And would you believe it? I'm getting ahead of myself. The time origin is Jurassic. Dilophosaurus existed in the early Jurassic, about 193 million years ago. And at 23 feet, believe it or not, it was the largest predator in its ecosystem at 23 feet, which is considered a smaller to just below mid-sized tyrannosaur. So keep that in mind. The weight, 400 kilograms or 880 pounds, not even a ton, not even half a ton. Family Dilophosauridae, and it existed in Mongolia, and the name means two-crested lizard. In terms of the figure itself, it's 14.5 inches long. 22 points of articulation. It has a display base with optional parts. 3 sets of interchangeable feet, including the 2 it comes in packaging with. Posable wire in the tail end. So, yeah, like I said, we've seen this guy before, only it had different paint apps. And I can tell you just based on the model itself, we're going to see what the paint apps look like when we get out of the packaging. But this, I call it a model. This is an action figure. This figure is great. In fact, it's because of this, you know, we've had Allosaurus, we've moved away from the raptors in terms of series because we started getting the big raptors like Achillobeta and Utah Raptor, and of course the Tyrannosaurs, and started getting other theropods like the Allosaurs, and we got the Dilophosaurus as well. I can't wait till we get a look at that Dilophosaurus, but that'll be then. This is now. Here's a look at the figure and its components out of the packaging, still on the clamshell. You see those other sets of feet. As always, we get a pair of feet that with closed toes, meaning it's supposed to be basically off of the ground. And then speaking of the ground itself, we have a pair of what I call steppers, as they show the feet lifting off the ground. And then of course you have the figure itself. In the clamshell that came below the primary, we've got the tail, and there's that base there. Here's our base close up. This is the actual base, and that's the pad that you, when you remove that sticky tape there, you apply it to the interior, so that way it'll be able to stand on basically any surface without scuffing, damaging, and or sliding for sure. That's the main thing. Then here's the rod portion of it, and you get some options here for that. You get this extension, and then you get these three options for mounting your figure. Here's one, a smaller C cup type of cradle, a wider cradle, more for the middle of the body, and then you have this little doogie here. I call it like a C type of cradle. Now, as for the feet, here are the closed toe feet, and unlike the Dilophosaurus, who we last reviewed, you see that the pegs are on the feet itself. They don't have the portholes, whereas with the Dilophosaurus, the pegs were on the bottom of the legs themselves. That also means that you can't tell if they're left or right, because there's nowhere to write them in. But the great thing is, when you look at them, they seem to be identical, so you shouldn't have to worry about getting them mixed up. And that would be the same for our steppers here. And finally, here's our Dilophosaurus out of packaging, of course, with the tail already connected up. And very beautiful colorations we got going on here. And I could tell you, I've already spotted the main difference outside of the different colors, and that's this version comes with a this is a neck sleeve of a tuft of feathers, and it's loose. I'm probably going to make it so that the figure wants to fall. Yep, it does. And another oh, it wants to fall. I was going to bring it up to the front of the congregation anyway. But another difference is, I want you to see this, and you won't be able to tell right away because you don't have anything to compare it with. But I've got the first version right next to me, so I can see it right here. The crests on this version are different. They're thinner than on the Beast of the Mesozoic version, and they are jagged. They're not smooth and rounded off like with the BOTM version. So that's definitely differences right there. Other than that, looking at the rest, it's basically the same figure except for those differences. One is an anatomical, a design difference, and the other is an addition to it. So I don't think I can get him to do it again. There you go. He's tripoding it up though. I can't front. I don't know if you could see that, but he's definitely tripoding it up, and but he's standing there for now. We could always play the base game, and I will. Definitely. But for now, we're going to take a look at the other Dilophosaurus, so you can see some viable differences. In fact, I'll get him up here. I'm going to put this one on his base, so that way I don't have to be having my hand in the way. Nobody's here watching this review to see my hand. So here we have both versions. Of course, the BOTM version is on our right, and you guys should be able to immediately see what I was talking about when in regarding the those crests. You see how round off our BOTM version is, and these are jagged, and they're thinner, and this is probably going to result in disaster, me taking them off their bases, but I'm trying to be thorough here so you guys can see the differences. If I turn these in, you can see how thin our Cyberzoic version is. Those crests are to the Beast of the Mesozoic version. The Beast of the Mesozoic version looks like it's pretty thick there. And am I going to get a twofer, or am I only good with one? Nope, I got a twofer. I was able to get them both on their stands with not too much problem. I'm going to zoom out. And you guys, I saw my hand got in the way there, but hey, it is what it is. So now I'll talk about the coloration for our Cyberzoic. It's the base is like a dark brown for the most part, and then you've got this orange brown that it melts into. We've got here at the ends, the bottoms or the beginnings, however you want to look at it, of the feathering. It's like a caramel with a brown circular striping going down there, so that's pretty cool. And once again, we have that neck sleeve on this version, and that's the basically the same color as the rest of the body, but there is it's kind of like a wash, if you can see that right there. Then of course that same darkness with combination of brown gray, brownish, blackish, brownish gray. I'm going to go with that brown. I definitely see brown in there, and there's some gray in there that just brings out the detail of the feathering. And of course you've got the color for the paws and the interior of the arms, the nails, the claws painted black. That's on both the forelimbs and the hind limbs. We've got that same feathering going on with the legs from the thigh, hips going down to where the knees meet, and then of course that color it melts off with a white wash, and it gets even whiter when you got there right at the ends of the feathering. And then the legs, that same color, you know, that brownish, that orange brownish color, and then you've got a wash over there with a darker wash that actually brings out the details of the scales. Pretty nice going on. Then that tail, it's got that same motif going on, and then it as we taper out, it turns to that orange brownish color. This is actually it starts off at one point that orange brown color, but then it gets even darker brown, kind of like a caramel brown right there. And then of course we've got some stripes, some other colors added in there, and of course you got the same thing there on the other side. In between the light bottom and the fur, we've got that orange brown color, and then it gets tan down there at the bottom. So pretty nice. And this sleeve will get on your nerves. You can push it down. Once you have it set up, you'll be good to go though. Taking a look more at the paint on the skull. Very, very nice. Very nice. We've got almost tiger stripe-ish kind of a look here with this orange brown. And it's got the darker browns coming down there around the cheek area. And the eyes are they're not quite white. They might be white, but it's definitely beady-eyed, and they have a black pupil in there. And the crest is beautiful with browns, and you see there are reds in there, and then of course at the ends, the edges, it's got this like a sky blue kind of look. When you look in the mouth, here's what's crazy. I just opened the mouth up for the first time, and look at the color of the interior of that mouth. Now there's no way that that a creature's got a blue mouth that isn't living in the sea. But this is still an interesting color, and our teeth, beady teeth, painted nicely. They painted a nice, the bottoms definitely have a nice ivory kind of paint to them, and the tops are a little bit more brown, but pretty nice. And you've got the tongue there. The tongue isn't articulated; it's just up and visible, and that's about the size of it there. But that's pretty cool as far as the coloration is concerned. I'm not going to go through the articulation because we've been there, done that. I will leave the link to the video for the BOTM Dilophosaurus in my end screens there. So if you want to see the articulation, just refer to it back there. Now to give you some different poses with the different feet, different combinations. We've got, with this particular pose, we've got the left stepper and the right closed toe off the ground, and as you can see, I've got that neck turned. Look at the range on that neck. And here we have the rear up looking over his figurative shoulder. I am so glad that Creative Beast Studio decided to change up the design of the crests on the Dilophosaurus, because I think this is great for scenes just like this, because with the two different crests, we can talk about dimorphism. You know what I'm saying? So one can definitely be the female and the other one could be the male. And I think that because our Cyberzoic version has the extra feathers, you know, almost like a lion's mane, if you will. If we're going to play that game, the Cyberzoic version would be, at least for me, the male. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And then the differences with the frills definitely make it stand out. That, like, if you saw it, if they live now and you saw it in the wild, you would know just looking at it that that was a male Dilophosaur. Or female, if you're talking about the one that's sitting down there. Anyway, I kind of like this. I like this scene right now. Pretty good. What do you guys think? I'm feeling myself right now, but seriously, what do you think about the figure itself? The Dilophosaurus comes with the two extra feet. You saw I gave you a couple examples of the different poses you can do. It can stand on its own, vanilla style, and you could get it to stand doing some dynamic poses. You know, it'll take some doing, but you can actually do it as long as you get those feet spread apart and then centered. It can be done. I'm loving the coloration on this new one. I love the coloration on the other one. And the great thing is they're not so far off, you know, with the colors. That yeah, the differences, the main differences, are in the crests, and I think that that works out great. I would, you know, you could make an argument that the BOTM version could be the male because the crest is definitely more colorful than the Cyberzoic version, and you can play that game too, you know, if you wanted to, but. I'm going to go the other way around simply because we get that neck piece for the fur. That's a mane, so I'm giving that male treatment. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments section. And while you're there, if you haven't done so already, like, and definitely if you haven't done so already and you've hung to this point, subscribe. You ain't got nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you like my content. I'm sure I'll have something down the pike. My chambers are unloaded when it comes to dino content right now, but we'll see what's up in the future. So let me know what's up. Hit the notification bell, and then you will be notified when something is up. Until then, guys, Dilophosaurus, Cyberzoic, Creative Beast Studio, Rockosaurus Rex, we're out.